you know me, I like to just unfold.
So we're trying to figure out our plan of what we record and talk about here. We decided we would just talk shit and see where that went, rather than be professionals or anything weird. We're trying to figure out George's your good. Did we have your good side or your bad side in the camera? So
I don't know. One's a good side. One's.
Is this because we're in duality or?
I don't know.
Seriously. So one of the reasons I was wanting to record and capture a few moments with George was we have you speaking. Have you invited you to speak at the upcoming event in Byron, the Find Your Medicine?
Yeah.
And I've seen George speak quite a number of times. It's a very interesting and interesting experience.
I was hoping to hear a word like expansive.
Like expansive. It's expansive as well in a very interesting way. I've got a weird question for you. How come every time you've spoken at some of the events, a couple of people in the audience lie down and go to sleep?
That's a really good question. There's multiple answers for that.
Yep.
One of them is because it's happened to me at an event too, where I've just been knocked out.
Yeah.
And
it's nearly always you. It's not the other speakers.
When as we unfold in this time, as we're coming on a journey, and we meet or we cross paths with information. Well, information is energy, so it's a person encounters a particular type of energy. And their greater being go, I don't want you to be exposed. So the part of them that's the composer and the conductor. Self.
We don't want the little self to be exposed just yet.
So big aspect of a person beyond the veil of this reality, the part that is the composer, the conductor and the orchestrator of the lives that we're having, goes, oh, it's not really appropriate for me to have access right now consciously to this type of energy or information. So it will knock a person out to allow that person just to have a bit of, like an insulation from that type of energy. And then it might bleed through later in their conscious state as, weeks, months,
the times unfold and the time's right.
It's more appropriate for them to get it.
And what's another reason?
Another reason is there's entities attached to that person that want to keep that person in a very restricted form of awareness and consciousness. Because if they do have information which then creates that expansion and they change that field of vibration, they're changing their ecosystem, and therefore the entities can no longer live in that ecosystem because that ecosystem becomes toxic to the entity. So the entities will knock a person out, deliberately to make sure that they don't hear the information and alter their energy field.
Sounds pretty scary.
It's part of the course for me. Yeah.
So one thing I was going to say is, from my experience, it's often been some of the strongest people energetically in the room. That they're quite powerful on many layers. And sometimes I've noticed them actually moving into power positions on other levels and withdrawing presence from this level when you speak.
I'm going to ask you to explain that again.
It's like I'll explain that to you later because I'm not getting told to say the words now. But essentially they're moving into other places in more of a protective role. At that time.
Yeah. And protecting themselves from what?
So this got weird. I'm going to ask a different question. So something you talk about sometimes is how you can be here and in other places at the same time.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, we're multidimensional beings.
Yep.
So we're omnipresent and we occupy many dimensions at the same time. So I do little exercises for people to have that realization about themselves, and they're really simple exercises. And no woo-woo involved, nothing kooky. It's just remembering an
Remind me to
experience
ask you
had.
where that line of woo-woo and kooky is for you, dude.
And it's just
Because if this isn't it, I don't know.
all right. Well, this is
But
normal.
okay, this is normal. Okay, go. Keep going.
This
Keep going.
isn't like we're barely scratching the surface of woo here. We're just talking about normal multidimensional nature of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's normal, isn't it? Okay.
Totes.
I guess most of the average people just don't even think about that kind of thing. Or, well, you could say the world of science, the religion of science, to be more accurate, does not acknowledge and will not acknowledge the multidimensional nature of life, which is just silly anyway, really. All right. So, I forgot your question now because
So I was saying you're good at being here and present in other places at the same time.
Because we are. So we have all these aspects of ourselves scattered throughout the universe and all these other dimensions. So we already are in many places at once. What gets interesting is when, with your consciousness, you can start accessing those other aspects of self. Yeah, and then you can start pulling in all these different skill sets. So, you know, there's parts of us that are really great ambassadors. There's aspects of us that play the role as healers and nurturers, and others that play the roles as warriors and guardians. Other aspects of self that play the roles of scientists. And it's really interesting whenever I need to really focus on something or apply my awareness to something, that when I get that opportunity not to stress out from an ego level that I'm not comprehending something, that I just pause, relax into myself, and I allow the aspect of me that needs to come to the fore, which enables me to comprehend what it is I wish to comprehend on this level.
Awesome.
So we have all these vocational skills from all over the place. And it's just knowing that if you have a particular theme in your life and interest in your life, then those are the aspects which are the most prominent in your being at this stage. And we're all composites.
How does one go about discovering who and where and what else they are?
The easiest way to do that is to have the realization that we are so much more. See, I'm so much more, you're so much more, we so much more. And when you have that realization, then you start getting to what's real, realization. And it's the action, it's the shin, it's that movement into real. That's what realization is. And we get the opportunity to relax into ourselves. And because we're relaxing into what's real about us beyond the mind space, whereas all the distortion fields are contained, that's where our consciousness is holding all the distortion fields, which means the bullshit versions of ourselves and all the bullshit stories bouncing around in this space. And then you relax out of that into here and you go into what's real, into your heart, core, soul essence. And from there, the view back is amazing, because then you get to see all the crap about your own self first, and then you get to see the crap in the rest of the world. And there's an ibis over there, it's got a cramp. Stretching it out. I'm not making it up, am I? It is an ibis stretching out.
I believe it could be
holding the pose.
Could be artistic expression. Might not be a cramp.
It's making like a statue. No. All right. So
awesome tangent.
So,
I'm good with just this is the whole tangent interview. I'm cool with that.
This is the whole tangent. We're going wherever it goes.
Yeah.
So, this is being able to get to what's real. So to get to what's real in life, in this world, you got to first get to what's real within you.
So is this what people mean when they talk about waking up?
This is the real awakening.
What do you mean the real awakening?
Well, there's all different versions of enlightenment, taking people to all different places in the universe. Okay. And then there's the natural order.
Taking people where in the universe?
Okay. So I'm just going to allow a person to stroll past and then I'll get into it. Yeah? Don't want to freak too many people out, do we?
Really?
Well,
see, I don't have that issue.
Yeah. So what we have...
It's very thoughtful of you.
Well, it is, because I could feel the energy it's not appropriate for that person to be exposed to that kind of information.
Mm.
So there's gods and entities and all these different structures, and they create all these different structures of worship and practice and ritual. And every time someone participates in those, they end up calibrating themselves into the energy or the entity that was the creator of those particular type of ritualistic practices. So people then get calibrated into the paradigms of reality within the universe, these fields of multidimensional energies within
like
the
pockets.
universe. Or you can see like pockets or bubbles or whatever, which can be quite vast. They within themselves, they can actually seem like pseudo-universal paradigms, and people get calibrated into those with their conscious awareness, and that's where they are then getting their information about life from. So then assimilated into that construct, and then they now perceive life through those lenses.
Cool. And where's the real source of where the construct comes from?
What is natural is beyond consciousness, because consciousness is universal mind energy. So to get to what's real, you've got to go beyond mind. So you've got to go beyond your field of consciousness and your relationship with consciousness, and then get into the core of your being. Because in the core of your being, where you are in unity with self, you then connect to unity of life in the universe. And it's through that baseline field of unity in the universe that everything, whether it's this, whether it's this, whether it's, that, you, trees, doesn't matter, this thing. And the baseline level, we're all made of the same stuff the universe is made of. If it exists in the universe, it's made of what the universe is made of. So therefore, there's a baseline field of unity, and you can only access that unity through your unity within you. So then you get to what's real, and from there you can see all the other fields of energy that have been created in the universe, and they have a particular flavor to them, So the field of unity in the universe has a particular feel to it, and then all these other fields of what they call light and vibrational fields of energy and paradigms of realities, they all have a particular feel to them. Yeah. And you can feel which ones are.
But are they like layers over the real field?
Yeah.
Because the real field is still there for all those beings.
Yeah.
So it's like they put on a mask or makeup, or there's like a show going on.
Correct. Just like we have layers of distortions over our
ego. It's like they
ego
put an
constructs.
extra layer of skin on or something.
Yeah. Masks. We're all wearing masks. Yeah.
Skin was creepier.
Yeah. Good on ya.
Okay.
You like creepy.
That is probably not relevant. So, tangent again. So, what are you up to these days?
Well, I'm really excited because I've been in a huge creative process. Like this solstice absolutely kicked my backside. I don't know about you, but wow, what a cosmic wave to surf that one was. And I got dumped riding that wave. It was awesome. It was painful. There was tears. I was in agony. At one stage, on New Year's Eve, I purged for 3 hours straight. It was really intense. And I loved every moment of it, mostly. However, I got to let go of so much stuff, and I feel so much lighter, and it's great. And all of a sudden, there's been a massive explosion, not just from there. It was before then I started.
It's been building,
I started my explosion of creativity prior to that, but through a lot of the things that I share and I teach, I implement onto myself. Of course, I walk my talk.
Same.
And
it's fucking hectic when you do that, right?
Oh, totally. Like this shit works, and it works good, and it gets into the deepest levels and just totally starts dismantling stuff. And you got to be ready to let go of the old. So having that capacity to really look at yourself and get to what's real and be real with yourself, you can then start dismantling what is no longer appropriate, because things serve us, or they are contributing to our lives for a period of time while we're vibrating a particular frequency. it's kind of like these slats here. If I can use this as a prop, just here like
Go
that.
for it.
Okay, so let's say you've got this band of frequency here. Let's say you're moving through this frequency, and you hit this frequency, and you're there, and you're now, you know, you've got your old life here. Now you've got this new life, and you're hanging out with different people, participating in all these different modalities, because you're in this field of frequency. Well, some people might stay in that for the rest of their lives, or some people might move through that really quickly. And what happens is, if you move through that and you move on, then everything that you knew in this field of reality starts to deconstruct, and you don't feel a resonance with it anymore, because now you're moving to this field of this band of frequency. And
this is like what I was talking about.
yeah, right.
Kind of. Because like then at a collective level, it's like us as a collective are consciously retracting the lower levels back up for the whole group. So that's one person, but it's like for everyone, we're deconstructing those realities.
We are.
Retracting our awarenesses that we're still involved in that creation and completing that.
Yeah. So in a linear
That weird.
No, in a linear perspective, it's right on the mark.
Awesome.
Yeah, in a linear perspective, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Overall, you will always be there.
Because they're all happening at the same time.
Yeah, when you get to that
infinite.
outside of time, you get to no time, and past, present, and future exist all simultaneously.
Yeah. And you change them all at once.
And yeah, but at the same time, you know not to hate on that or resent that aspect of you that was there. So it's about really making sure that you embrace all of your light, all of your shadow. And even if there are things that you've done and things that you've been in this universe, you know, I've said I've been the most beautiful and loving being this universe has ever seen, and I've been the most horrible and evil thing this universe has ever seen. So have you. It's just I'm willing to admit it, most aren't. And so what we've got is all this light and all this shadow in the full expression of it on a universal scale. And we've all done this. And when you're able to embrace all of your light and all of your shadow, you bring all of yourself home. And therefore, through that unity, you can then access all of the light and all the shadow in the universe, because you do it through your light and your shadow. All the expressions that you've been. If you haven't been a particular expression of light or shadow in this universe, then you can't possibly embrace all of the light and the shadow in this universe, because you don't know what it's like. You don't know how to do it.
It's like whether you like a particular flavor. You have no idea till you tried it.
Exactly. Anyone can tell you what it's like and how they experience it, but until you walk the path, ain't going to be real.
I'm very close now. My face got heaps bigger. Balance. Is that all we've got to say?
Oh, you know me, I could just keep going.
I know.
You know, it's up to you.
I think we might complete this now.
Okay.
Unless there are any more questions. I know. You said that wasn't even at the was it weird and kooky?
On the weird factor.
Yeah. What's weird for you at the moment?
What's weird for me?
What's your edge?
It's kind of hard to say because of my multidimensional meanness, which is I have a board of directors. There's me, myself, and I, and all three of us usually unanimous on everything. It can get a bit heated sometimes because me, George, little George, the ego construct of this life, you know, sometimes I have my needs and my wants, and little Georgie wants ice cream sometimes. And so little Georgie needs to go and get some ice cream. And then myself is going, it's really not healthy for you, which is my greater being, right? And my greater being is you really want to think twice about that. And I is just going, well, you know, I'm totally out of this dialectic, so that's all up to you guys. So yeah, it's really interesting what takes place sometimes. Has
no barometer for right or wrong.
No, no, because it's your infinite nature beyond this universe.
Cool.
Yeah, it is. And it's warm.
So anything you're particularly interested to share about that's happening at the moment that you'll be sharing about in Byron next week?
Yeah, so we have got that explosion of creativity from me is a plethora of courses and information, and you know, information is being embraced by people from all over the world now, which is lovely to see. a lot of excited people, and people who really have focused on wanting what is real and getting past all ideological systems and just getting to the heart of themselves, which is really lovely. It's really, that's the challenge, is leaving this space here we've been operating from and coming back home to this.
Yeah.
And when you do that,
stop creating from a belief level.
Yeah. Everyone's launching
trying
intentions
to
of creativity.
But they're trying to believe stuff
from ideological systems. So it's all cultural programming.
We talk about the same things but in different words.
Yeah. We do. That's why we're hanging out here doing this.
Yeah.
Because you got your thing.
Yeah.
And I got my thing.
Yeah.
And so we're thinging out, aren't we? Because your thing's hanging out with my thing.
Hang on.
Just thinging out.
Okay. I wasn't planning on talking about my things, but I guess we're thinging out.
We're thinging out.
With our things.
Yeah. So if you want to thing out with more of my things, we're infinite.love.
We are.
It's good community. Because we are.
We are.
You are.
Yeah. Thanks, George.
Awesome.
See you soon.
Thank you very much, Sammy. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, you too. Stop.